They say you need others to feel complete, Libra, that you are the sign of relationships, of love, of us. But you know well, there is a part of you that is never fully shared. There is an ancient myth that Libra is incapable of walking alone, that it is a half desperately seeking the other. But this is a shallow reading of your complexity. The truth is that being a cardinal sign, you possess an initiating strength, an independence of spirit that few can see because it is wrapped in silk and diplomacy. You do not seek the other to fill a void. You seek the other to share a fullness. And when that fullness is not understood, you withdraw, a silent, exquisite, and deep part that only blooms in solitude. And no, it is not coldness, it is instinct, it is self-defense, it is ancient wisdom. It is the wisdom of Saturn, the planet exalted in your sign. Saturn teaches that without structure, beauty collapses. Your solitude is that structure. It is the scaffolding that supports the cathedral of your personality. Without these moments of retreat, the social facade, however beautiful it may be, cannot sustain itself. Today we are going to unveil the mysteries of that solitude you chose, not as a punishment, but as a sanctuary. Because when everyone believes you are running away, you are actually returning to yourself. If you want to know more about Libra, don't forget to subscribe so you don't miss new videos that will help you know and understand this and other zodiac signs better. Let's begin. It's not that you don't love the sound of a good conversation, Libra. It's just that there is a moment when other people's noise begins to invade your inner peace. After so many stimuli, your soul asks for a pause. Being an air sign, your mind is a ceaseless data processor. You don't just hear words, you read intonations, pauses, hidden intentions, and emotional charges. While a fire sign just reacts and an earth sign just observes, you analyze. And this constant analysis consumes a brutal amount of psychic energy. The world is too noisy for the sophistication of your senses. Because while others speak without thinking, you absorb everything, the nuances, the gestures, what is not said. Your scales vibrate with every micro-tension, and when they become unbalanced, you need space to readjust. Imagine a sensitive seismograph trying to measure tremors in the middle of a rock concert. That is how your soul feels in chaotic environments. The imbalance is not just irritation, it is a physical sensation of disorientation. You lose true north. You forget who you are because you have blended too much with the energy of those beside you. Silence is not empty for you, it is alignment. It is the only language where you hear your true voice. Not because you are solitary by nature, but because in silence, no one interrupts you when you decide to ask yourself how you truly feel. In the presence of another, your instinct is always to ask, "What do you need?" It is automatic. It is the curse and the blessing of Libran empathy. Silence is the only interlocutor that demands nothing of you, and therefore it is the only moment when the question changes to, "What do I need?" And there, in that pause, your restoration begins. It is not evasion, it is medicine. A spiritual retreat, even if you are in the middle of city noise, because you know well that if you do not return to yourself, you cannot give anything genuine to others. Silence does not distance you from the world. It returns you to your center. It is like tuning an instrument. An out-of-tune violin can keep playing, but the music will be ugly, dissonant. You withdraw to tune the strings of your soul. And when you return, the music you emit is, once again, harmonious. You have a gift, Libra, that of softening, calming, harmonizing. You are the breeze that lowers the temperature of any conflict, but no one imagines how heavy it is to sustain someone else's peace while your interior wobbles. The Peacemaker Syndrome has a high cost. Often, to maintain external peace, you declare internal war. You swallow bitterness that turns into stones in your stomach. You smile while your mind screams disagreements that your mouth refuses to pronounce for fear of creating a bad atmosphere. You have been the mediator, the bridge, the smile between two extremes that collided, and you did it well. But who holds the one who holds everyone else? Libra, how many times did you break without anyone noticing? Because everyone thought you could handle everything. The aesthetics of strength. You make it look so easy, so elegant, that people forget that being the bridge means everyone walks over you. To be the bridge is to allow yourself to be stepped on so that others can meet. And a day comes when the bridge's structure creaks. Your solitude is not born of ego, but of fatigue. You withdraw not out of contempt, but out of necessity, because balance cannot be an eternal sacrifice. There is a fine line between being diplomatic and being annulled. Fatigue comes from realizing that in many moments you chose the harmony of the group over your own truth, and the body pays that bill. Libra's tiredness is not muscular, it is existential, because you learned that your soul is not a shock absorber for the chaos of others, and that your energy is not a bottomless pit where anyone can come to drink. And that is why you choose silence, because in that space, without requests or demands, you finally give yourself permission to fall, to rest, to rebuild yourself without masks. Taking off the mask is Libra's most intimate act, the social mask. That always ready smile, that impeccable attention, weighs tons at the end of the day. In solitude, your face relaxes, your shoulders drop. You don't need to be beautiful, nor pleasant, nor fair. You can just be human. You move away, not because you lack love, but because you are learning to give that to yourself first. You have trained the world to see you as strong, peaceful, unbreakable. But that image is also a prison. People fall in love with your light and forget that for there to be light, there must be a power source. When the source dries up, they complain about the darkness instead of asking how to rekindle the fire. You have become a hostage to your own social excellence. You have been so available, Libra, that many have forgotten that you also have an internal pulse that trembles, that behind your calm there are entire nights of insomnia, that you also need someone to ask you, "How are you?" But they rarely do, not out of malice, but because you do it so well that no one imagines you are tired. And the worst part, when they do ask, you usually answer, "I'm fine," quickly shifting the focus back to the other person. It is a behavioral habit. Solitude is the place where you don't need to lie about your state, and in that unintentional abandonment, your soul resents it, because even the most generous heart needs a pause. Your solitude, then, is the only place where you can stop smiling without making anyone uncomfortable, where you can cry without having to explain why, where you can simply exist without performance. That is the key. For Libra, life in society is a continuous performance of good manners and consideration. Solitude is the dressing room. It is where the makeup comes off and reality enters. With that chosen invisibility, you return to yourself and remember that you don't always have to be the balance of the world, if that implies unbalancing yourself. In your solitude, you stop giving to finally start receiving from yourself. Your soul is a temple with secret doors, Libra. And although many enter your life, very few reach the altar. The atrium of your temple is always full. You are inviting, charming, but the sanctum sanctorum, the sacred place where the rawest truths are kept, has restricted access. And you realize that you let too many people into the atrium who confuse that with intimacy. Because behind your sympathy, your elegant kindness, lives a sacred complexity. You are not simple, you are not linear. You grasp more than you say, feel more than you express. Your inner world is vast, symbolic, almost artistic. You live in a world of ideas, ideals, and aesthetics. You are moved by the symmetry of a leaf, by the color of the sky, by the justice of an act. It is a refined sensibility that the rough world often runs over. Libra, how many times have you tried to show your depth and been met with superficiality? That wound made you wiser. You understood that not everyone has the sensitivity to sustain your contradictions, your nuances, your long silences, and you chose retreat, not as an escape, but as a filter. It is not elitism, it is resonance. You are tired of playing classical music for those who only want to hear noise. The filter of solitude serves to test who has the patience to wait for the door to open. Whoever knocks and leaves did not deserve to enter. Your solitude became the secret garden where no one enters without permission, because now you know that whoever does not know how to inhabit it with respect does not deserve to cross the threshold. You keep to yourself, not because you fear being seen, but because you have learned to protect your sanctuary. A profaned sanctuary takes years to purify. You have already had your sanctuary invaded by people with shoes dirty with selfishness and indifference. Now, you lock the door, and the key is mutual respect. You are not one for empty bonds. The polite "how are you" is not enough for you. You want gazes that listen, shared silences that do not make you uncomfortable, conversations that heal, not just fill time. As an air sign, communication is vital to you, but not gossip, not the trivial. You want communication that connects souls, the intellectual exchange that expands horizons. If the conversation doesn't feed the mind or the heart, it is just noise. The problem is that most people stay with your social layer, kind, charming, diplomatic, and you know it. You perceive when someone wants to know you or simply wants to have you close because you make everything easier. The Libra effect. People feel better around you. They feel heard, validated, beautiful. You are a mirror that reflects the best of others. But who is willing to be the mirror for you? And in that recognition, your selection is born. You become more demanding, not out of arrogance, but out of clarity. Because if someone cannot see beyond your smile, then they do not deserve your shadow nor your real light. Libra, you are not made for magazine relationships. You want truth. Beauty attracts you, yes, Venus ensures that. But truth holds you. You prefer an ugly truth to a beautiful lie these days. Maturity brought this change of palette. Do you want to feel seen in what you keep silent? Do you want a soul that doesn't run away when your emotions get intense? And until that arrives, your solitude will be better company than any presence that does not honor you. You are an air sign, yes, but what inhabits you is fine water. This metaphor of fine water is perfect. You are not the oceanic storm of Scorpio, nor the rushing river of Cancer. You are the dew, the mist, the humidity that permeates everything silently. Your emotion is subtle, penetrating, and omnipresent. The sensitivity you carry is not always seen with the naked eye, Libra. It camouflages itself amongst your elegance, amongst your poise, amongst that almost magical ability to adapt to the environment without breaking the harmony. But that sensitivity is there, and it captures everything. You cry on the inside while smiling on the outside. You feel disrespect like a physical cut, even if you keep your posture erect. This dissonance between what you feel and what you show is what generates the urgent need for isolation. Spaces charged with tension overwhelm you. You detect false looks, empty words, tones that do not match intentions. You are an antenna. You receive more than you should, and sometimes that overwhelms you. Social hypocrisy causes nausea in Libra. Seeing someone being unfair or rude deregulates your nervous system. You cannot just ignore it. It stays vibrating in your aura until you cleanse yourself in silence. Libra, you are not weak, but you need protection, and you know it. When the energy overflows, you close up like a night flower, not to manipulate, not out of contempt, but because you feel that if you continue absorbing without filtering, you will end up collapsing. Libra's collapse is paralyzing indecision or total apathy. When you can no longer decide even what you are going to have for dinner, it is a sign that your operating system is overloaded with cookies from others. Rebooting the system in solitude is vital. Your retreat is prevention, your distance is medicine. In solitude, you regulate your emotions, clean your field, recover calm. You don't need an explanation, you don't need permission. It is your energetic right. Your sensitivity is not a fragility, it is a gift that you have learned to guard. Protecting the gift is the duty of the one who possesses it. You stopped throwing pearls before swine. You understood that your empathy is a high-value resource and stopped distributing it for free on the corner. For years, you wanted to be light for everyone. You strove to please, to soften with pleasure, and you did it, Libra. You did it too well, but you also lost yourself. You emptied yourself in relationships where you gave more than you received, the imbalance of the scales. You put gold on one side and received lead on the other and tried to convince yourself they weighed the same. The emotional math didn't add up, and you paid the difference with your own health. You kept quiet to avoid bothering anyone. You smiled when your soul asked to scream, and that over time left you exhausted. But the moment of awakening arrived. You started asking yourself who you are giving your energy to and what you receive in return. And there everything changed. The accounting of the soul. Libra is fair, and justice begins at home. If it's not fair to you, it's not fair, period. Today you no longer yield so easily. You have set boundaries. You have learned to say no without feeling guilt, because you understood something sacred. Your peace is non-negotiable. Your time is valuable. Your presence is a gift. Libra's no is said with a soft voice, but it is definitive. It is a velvet wall. You don't need to shout to impose limits. Your absence speaks louder than any scream. You didn't become cold, you became wise. You're no longer here to wear yourself out in places where your light only serves to illuminate others while you fade away. Choosing who you give your energy to is a form of self-love and rebirth. Your emotionality is sacred, Libra. You stopped being the candle that burns to give light to others' parties. Now you are the bonfire that warms those who approach with respect. You do not share it with just anyone, and not because you lack affection, but because you know that some emotions are only pronounced in whispers, in safe spaces, with souls that are not scared of your soft intensity. Libra's intensity is not drama, it is the depth of commitment. It is taking love seriously. It is treating friendship like a pact. Few are ready for that level of aesthetic and ethical loyalty. Your heart is not a public square, it is a temple. And in that temple there are fears, dreams, contradictions. There is beauty, but also shadow. And not everyone knows how to sustain it. Libra, you don't need to be fully understood, only respected when you cannot explain yourself. Respect for the mystery. You want them to accept you're not today, without demanding a dossier of explanations. You lived the pain of sharing yourself and feeling judged. That is why you learned to keep, to filter, to protect, not out of pride, but out of preservation. Your solitude is the place where your emotionality breathes without pressure, where you don't have to embellish your pain so others can bear it, where you can cry without anyone looking at you with pity, where you can feel without asking for permission. The freedom to be ugly in pain, to be messy, to have dark circles, not to be the lady or gentleman of the Zodiac for a few hours. That heals. And thus, in that chosen intimacy, you connect with the purest part of yourself. Your emotion is not for entertainment. It is a spiritual language that only a few know how to translate. You are tired of having to justify yourself, Libra. The exhaustion of advocacy. You spent your life being the defense attorney for others and sometimes for yourself. In solitude, the court closes. There is no judge, no jury, no verdict. Just being. Tired of explaining why something hurt you, why you need silence, why you prefer to leave before exploding. Tired of being told you exaggerate, that you take everything too personally, that you are too much. You are not too much. You are exact. This phrase is powerful. You are exact. Your internal scale has millimetric precision. If you felt something is wrong, it is wrong. Your intuition is mathematical, and whoever doesn't understand that simply isn't your people. Sometimes the pressure to fit in makes you shut up. You adapt, smile, flow, but inside your soul feels tight, as if wearing a suit that no longer belongs to it, and that suffocates you. The suffocation of living a character that became too small for the greatness of your current soul. So you leave, not with drama, not with reproach. You simply disappear because you don't want to have to defend your way of feeling. You don't want to have to translate yourself into a language that isn't yours. In solitude, everything becomes clear. The famous Libran ghosting is not malice, it is preservation. It is leaving the scene before the scene becomes grotesque. It is maintaining the elegance of the ending. No one demands, no one analyzes, no one asks you to be stronger, less intense, more stable, less emotional. Your sensitivity doesn't need an explanation, it just needs space to exist in peace. You have learned to move in society like an invisible dancer. You glide. You know the social choreography by heart, but dancing is tiring. You know what to say, how to say it, when to be silent. Your presence harmonizes, your smile softens. You are diplomatic even when you are broken inside. But behind that mask, there is a me that also gets tired. The weight of the crown of Mr. Congeniality. Many believe they know you because they see your most charming face, but few suspect the fatigue behind that cordiality. Few know how much effort it implies to be the one who is always fine. Libra, what if you let that mask fall for an instant? Who would see the real you? This is the final test. If you stopped smiling, who would stay? Solitude gave you the answer. Only the true ones would stay. And that, although it hurts, is liberating. Your social image is not a lie. It is just a part, a tool you use to survive. But it cannot be your only face. That is why in solitude, you allow yourself to exist without filters, breathe without posing, think without diplomacy, feel without owing beauty to anyone, the anarchy of being. In solitude, Libra can be messy, and in that mess lies their humanity, and in that emotional nakedness, something is liberated. The mask protects, but only the truth repairs. For years you did what you believed was correct, yielding to not lose, keeping quiet to not bother, softening everything so nothing would explode. You thought that was how bonds were preserved, but that harmony came at a price, Libra. Your own peace, armed peace, false peace. You traded authenticity for acceptance, and now you are undoing that trade. And one day you understood, not in the middle of an explosion, but in the silence after. You realized that maintaining someone else's calm at the cost of your balance was a subtle betrayal, that the cost of sustaining dysfunctional bonds was your own internal wear and tear. Betraying yourself to be loyal to another is the greatest irony of an unawakened Libra's life. You can no longer keep feigning stability when your soul trembles. You no longer want to be the balm that calms everything while inside you are fading away. So you chose your peace, not loudly, not with scandal, but with a new firmness born of having tried everything. The firmness of one who has exhausted all options. Libra tries everything. Plan A, B, C, the friendly chat, the hint, the silence. When they decide on rupture or isolation, it is because nothing was left. Today, Libra, you know that what steals your calm does not deserve to stay. On your path, there were moments when you needed validation from the other to feel you were doing the right thing. You molded yourself, refined yourself, the search for the mirror. Tell me who I am. Now you tell yourself who you are. You adapted, gave your best version again and again, hoping someone would value it as you did. But with time, you understood something powerful. If you have to hide parts of yourself to be loved, that love is not for you. Love that prunes is not love. It is forced gardening. Libra wants to bloom wild, even if inside an elegant vase. You renounced applause, stopped begging for presents, abandoned the addiction to being understood by everyone, and, in that initial void, found a new fullness, that of being you without having to prove anything. Libra, your authenticity doesn't need witnesses to have value. The sun shines even if no one looks at it. Your beauty exists even if there is no one to praise it. Now you walk lighter. You no longer decorate your emotions to make them acceptable. You no longer mold your essence to fit. You belong to yourself, and if that implies being more alone, it is a price you are willing to pay. Solitude is the toll of freedom, and Libra is rich enough in self to pay that bill. Because nothing is worth as much as the freedom of not having to explain yourself to exist. You chose to stop pleasing, to start being. There was a time when solitude weighed on you. It sounded like abandonment, like rejection, like a sad echo. But now, Libra, that same solitude is your temple. Resignification. What was a punishment became a prize. You have learned to design it as an aesthetic, emotional, and spiritual space. A place where the soul doesn't have to ask permission to be, where you breathe deeply without justifying yourself, where every object, every corner, every silence is impregnated with your energy. You decorate your solitude. You play music, light candles, create an atmosphere. You treat yourself as the guest of honor. It is aesthetics in the service of healing. It is not empty. It is intimate fullness. It is reconnection with the essential. It is the whisper of your inner voice, recovering volume after the noise. In that solitude, you stopped expecting everything from others and started giving yourself what you always deserved: attention, care, beauty, peace, emotional self-sufficiency, the great learning of Libra's life. Not everyone understands this, but you do, because you are no longer alone due to a lack of company, but due to an abundance of consciousness. Solitude stopped hurting when you converted it into a ritual. It is not isolation, it is sacred solitude. Libra, you don't open your soul easily because you know what it is worth, because you felt how much it hurts to hand it over to hands that don't know how to hold it. Today you are clear, your vulnerability is a treasure. You don't seek half-loves. You raised the bar, the entrance price went up. You don't want relationships where you only shine when you are fine. You need bonds where you can cry without fear, tremble without guilt, be without having to explain every emotion. Your heart doesn't seek chaotic intensity. It seeks emotional beauty, and that beauty is not faked, is not demanded. It is intuited, it is recognized. Emotional beauty, the supreme concept. Harmony of souls, not just bodies or words. That is why, if you don't find that level of resonance, you prefer not to give anything, because you know that every piece of you is sacred and that not everyone will know how to see the work of art you carry inside. You promised yourself that your next surrender will only be where there is soul, not just eyes. No more window shopping. Now you want depth. Where before you spoke to please, now you choose to be silent to protect yourself. Where before you mediated out of inertia, now you stop. You discovered that silence is not surrender, but refined strength. The power of strategic silence, letting the other deal with their own chaos without intervening. Keeping quiet is a form of conserving your energy, of letting the truth emerge without needing to explain it, of allowing peace to install itself without struggle. Libra, every time you choose not to react, not to justify, not to intervene, you are marking an invisible but powerful boundary. Non-action as the strongest action. Libran Wu Wei, you're telling yourself, my calm is worth more than being right. And in that subtle gesture, you return to yourself. You no longer need to earn respect by speaking. You inspire it from your center, from that tempered silence that looks so much like wisdom. Your silence is no longer empty. It is the armor that protects your essence. An armor of light, not iron. Transparent, but impenetrable. There is a secret dance in your way of living, Libra. An invisible choreography between diplomacy and emotion, between the desire for union and the need for retreat, between the aesthetics of the visible and the intensity of the internal, the eternal duality of the scales, oscillating to find the center. Not everyone comprehends that rhythm. Some believe you are indecisive, others that you are cold, but you know the truth. You are made of balance, yes, but also of contradiction. You are the sign that can wear harmony and inside battle with storms. Accepting the internal storm is the first step to calming it. The one who can smile while rebuilding in silence. the one who loves with elegance, but withdraws with firmness when they feel their essence is not honored. And today, after so many times of giving, keeping quiet, sustaining, yielding, you have finally understood being alone is not a wound, it is a wise choice. The wisdom of choosing one's own company over bad company. Your solitude is not your shadow, it is your lantern lit in the middle of the noise. Libra, now you know more clearly than ever. Your need to be alone is not a flaw, it is an ancient pulse that guides you back to yourself. It is not a factory defect, it is a premium feature. Every time you close a door, every time you choose silence, every time you prefer your space to the noise of the external, you are choosing the purest love, the one that begins with you. Your solitude is not the absence of others, it is the full presence of your being. Presence, being whole where you are. It is the revolutionary act of saying, here I stay, here I take care of myself, here I listen to myself. Because you understood that no one can hold you better than you when everything else falls. The final autonomy of the sign of partnership. And the most beautiful thing is that from that place, you can return to the world. Because now you know that in your solitude blooms the most authentic, wisest, freest version of who you are. And if you ever doubt, remember this. The soul of Libra is not found in the crowd, it is revealed in silence. The final paradox. To find the true Libra, don't look at the party. Look at the moment after the party ends. Now, if you want to continue discovering more about this sign, don't miss the videos that will be shown next. If you liked it, don't forget to like. And if you felt identified or think a point was missed, write it in the comments. Share if you believe it might interest family and friends. Thank you for watching. See you in the next video.